We could have like the cutout of the rabbi.
A little cardboard.
Yes, yes.
Hi, I made it done.
Yes.
Just out of that. It's okay. Hold on to that until, yeah. Shabbat Shalom. How nice to see you guys. How are you? Oh, yeah? It's crazy. I'm so yeah, he's in the newsletter.
Great. Cute.
You'll see him in High Island.
Okay.
Actually, that's my kiss coin.
What'd you do with
I
Hey, where's your husband? This
getting over her.
She has allergies.
So sometimes
It's a totally different.
This is the last time we
What did you by yourself?
I feel good about it.
Really?
I bought a new guitar.
I
started on the yeah, you have to keep it. It's fun. Some of the people, and I can't do this. I can't play golf because of week and all. That's amazing. Is it called Red Top?
Oh, that guy Brennan. He's going to see Ryan Knight at some point. She cannot get out of her place.
But they asked for recommendations, and I was supposed to. I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
I don't know, I saw it.
Restoration stuff. He's the guy that mows and he's visited. He's had rough. He doesn't put his last results. Things that are made by and all that
Rabbi, they're all here in spirit.
They are. Yes. Oh. Shabbat Shalom. Hopefully everyone had a chance to pick up this Siddur for tonight. I know it's always confusing. So, yes, it is potentially one of the last times we're going to use this wonderful Siddur because thanks to our last year's confirmation class, we have a brand new Siddur called Mishkan Tefillah for You, which is beautiful. We're going to be starting it, debuting it next month. So just a little bit of a teaser for you to come next month. And we'll use it together. So we will be putting this one away for a little while. Let's turn to page 38 for one more song to start us off. at the final Shabbat of 5778, we have a brand new year starting Sunday night, 5779. And I wonder what each of our new songs might be in this new year. What would our new song be that we would sing unto God? So take some time throughout our service tonight to ponder that, of what your new song would be. We're going to turn to page 3, and it is a pleasure to invite up Philip and Susan Fine to lead us in the lighting and blessing of our Shabbat candles.
Asher, Kiddushanu, Bemisro.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
And now we're still standing. We turn to page 6
For meet and greet.
for the bar.
Came in time for the meet and greet. Yeah.
I just saw you.
We continue responsively on page 7. As day departs, as the dark of night descends, we lift our eyes to the heavens. In awe and wonder, our hearts cry out, Eternal God, how majestic is your name in all the earth. A vast universe, who can know it? What mind can fathom it? We look out to the endless suns and ask, what are we? What are our dreams and our hopes? What are we that you are mindful of us? What are we that you should care for us? And yet within us abides a measure of your spirit. You are remote, but oh, how near, ordering the stars in the vast solitudes of the dark, yet whispering in our minds that you are closer than the air we breathe. For you have made us little less than divine, and crowned us with glory and honor. With love and awe we turn to you, and in the dark of evening we seek the light of your presence. And on page 10 in the italics. God, you gave us mitzvot in the Torah because you love us. Play fair, be kind, share with others, tell the truth. When we want to know the right thing to do, we remember what the Torah says. It helps us decide what is right when no one is there to tell us. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. We praise you, eternal God. You gave the Jewish people the Torah. It is a sign that you love us. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, which I command you this day upon your heart. Teach them faithfully to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be symbols before your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Be mindful of all my mitzvot and do them. So shall you consecrate yourselves to your God. I am your eternal God who led you out of Egypt to be your God. I am your eternal God. On the top of page 15. We were freed from slavery and went forth to freedom. Let all be free to sing with joy. Chadash, your song, your new song, be in 5779. Does anybody want to share? Do you perhaps have a, oh, Johanna, were you going to say something?
Well, it's not a Hebrew song, it's not a Jewish song,
It's okay.
but it's one.
It's a metaphorical song.
It means a lot to me, Imagine by the Beatles.
The what?
Imagine by the Beatles.
Oh, Imagine by the Beatles. Oh, I love that. I love how you picked the song. Nice. Thank you. That's beautiful. I like that she took it and went to a whole other level. Thank you. You don't have to have a song, but if you have a metaphorical, something new that you want to do in your life, some new idea, some new prayer, some new, I don't know, promise or vow to yourself or to the world. Anybody want to share? Yeah, Beth.
Actually, I'd like to hear from you when you come back from Israel with a new song about your trip to Israel.
Ooh, I am pleased to bring that back. Sure. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So keep thinking. What's going to be new for you from 57, 79? We're at the bottom of page 19. Please rise. Shalom. Shalom. Good Shabbos. So nice that you're all here, especially when we have so much coming up in the next few days. So thank you for spending Shabbat with us and making it that much sweeter for everyone. It's impossible to not feel the difference in the space, the different energy, the feeling that, that my holidays are really here. A few days ago, when the room had been turned over, I walked in, and I don't know if you felt the same thing, and I'm like, okay, now it's real. Rosh Hashanah is almost here. And we do imagine, how it'll be in a few days when the space is totally filled, and how our voices all sound, hundreds of us all together, and how beautiful that is to be surrounded by our community, by our family. It's always so special to bring in the new year in that way. Is so sweet. And then to hear the shofar sound, to be woken up, because it's so easy in so many ways to fall asleep and to block out certain things, but the shofar doesn't let us. It forces us to wake up, to tune back into ourselves, to tune back into each other, and perhaps most importantly, to tune back into the world around us. So I look forward to welcoming the new year with all of you, and I look forward to whatever that year will bring. Hopefully it's all going to be good. We never really wish each other Happy New Year. We wish each other Shana Tova, a good New Year. So our prayers for a good New Year extend as well to people who are currently ill, to people who are struggling, who are in pain, who are suffering. We pray that the new year that's coming will be one of peacefulness, will be one of healing, will be one of wholeness. So please join me in praying for Reagan Konecki, John D. Nicola, Nancy Schwam, Sam Rosenblum, Miriam Swidler, Simon Alexander Petty, Larry Mancini, Charles Sabat, Debbie Clymer, Layla Phillips, Iris Clark, Burl Bellows, Josephine Stricker, Cindy Rashal, David Ben Mayer, and Arthur Myers. And to those names we add the people who are in your hearts, or you are thinking of tonight, who would like to share a name out loud.
John Line, Russ Helmer.
Tell me who got him. Fred Schaefer. Joan and Mark Goodman.
Christine Philzucker and Patrick Moore.
Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'Imotenu Sarah v'Kal Rachel v'Yivarech v'Yirokei Kol Acholim Ha'elah. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bless and heal all those who are ill. We pray that they return to a sense of wholeness, to a sense of peacefulness, and that they are blessed with healing. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, God, who cares for the sick. And let us say together, Amen. Amen. And we have people in our lives who have healed, who have recovered from injury, from an operation, from illness, people who have escaped danger in some way, and people who have gone on a long trip away and come back home safely. And so on behalf of all of those people in our lives, we praise you, God, who makes good things happen in the world around us. And let us say together, Amen. Amen. So what simchas do we have? What smachot? What happy occasions? If there are any September birthdays, hang on, because we have a birthday blessing going on for you soon. But what else is going on?
I've been nominated for induction into the French Honor Society.
Wow.
And I as a sophomore in French.
That is fantastic. Mazel tov. That's great. What else is going on in people's lives? Yes.
We just became new great uncle and aunt. Yesterday, she was a little boy in Plano, Texas.
Wow.
My sister's, thank you.
Grandchild or your sister's
My sister's daughter's, it's my sister's grandchild. So we're the
Right, yeah.
we're the greats.
Oh, Mazel tov to the whole family. That's wonderful. What else? Yes, Becca.
Benji's birthday tomorrow.
Happy almost birthday to Benji. Can you want to take a tchotchke home to him?
Yes.
Okay, nice. That's very kind of you. Anybody else? So we'll do our birthday blessing for our guest speaker tonight. So do we have September birthdays in the room? Oh, August who didn't get blessed. So September and August. Yeah, okay. So come on up, and if we have some tall individuals who can help hold the chuppah, that would be lovely as well. Where are tall individuals?
Yeah, you are a tall person.
No, he's not, he's short.
Yeah.
There's enough people.
We got four, we got four. It's okay.
I actually looked at yesterday.
Okay, and Marilyn, where are you? Oh, you're behind the tall individuals. Part the seat of the tall individuals. Okay, so everyone, let's join together in singing happy birthday to our wonderful birthday celebrants. Oh, let it sameach, Yom Holedet sameach, Yom Holedet sameach, Yom Holedet sameach. And let's also join together in the Shehecheyanu, which praises God for enabling us to reach this festive day. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu, v'kiyamanu, v'higiyanu, l'azman hazeh. So, dear ones, we wish you a very happy birthday. We wish for you a year filled with blessing, with good health, with joy, with happiness, surrounded by family and friends. I wish for you growth. I wish for you learning. I wish for you enjoyment of all things of the sweet that fill the sweetness of life. And of course, the greatest gift would be the opportunity to celebrate with you again next year. So, Mazel Tov, happy birthday. Please feel free to grab a tchotchke for yourself or a young one in your life.
I might just come out and look for everything. I'll just take something as a placeholder.
Fair enough. I appreciate the strategy. That is a bookmark. Take a placeholder. Take a tchotchke. Okay, everybody got it? And Becca, you can pick one up and answer. Or you want to pick it up? Okay, thank you, football holders. You may, here, Becca. What do you think your brother's doing?
Good. A bookmark.
So as much as I would like to believe that so many of you are here tonight for Cantor, Belinda, and me, I'm sure many of you are here to enjoy the words and learn from the words of tonight's guest speaker. As you are probably aware, each year when we enter the Hebrew month of Elul, our Religious Affairs Committee selects a theme that allows us to start thinking about the approach to the new year, because the month of Elul, of course, is the final month of the year. And so this year the theme has been unexpected journeys, many of which include Israel. A few weeks ago, we heard from Katie Burzin and Sadie Smith, who this summer went on a high school Nifty program in Israel and shared about their journeys. And then last week, we heard from Stephen Nardine and his journey towards Judaism, his conversion process, and the way he's looking forward to a trip to Israel. And tonight, we have the pleasure of hearing from Marilyn White-Godfrey. So I'd like to invite you up.
First of all, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, everybody. She had a very sweet and healthy New Year. I was a little hesitant to speak tonight about the Israel experience because we had the younger people talking about their trip to Israel and parts of Europe, and they were so young and their voices were so wonderful, and my story is like 45 years old, and but that had any relevance to anything. So I just have to hope that I can tie this together and make it seem appropriate for you to hear and for me to share. So I'll just say very briefly, I grew up in suburban Philadelphia. It was post-World War II, and Holocaust and the Israeli statehood were the biggest topics for the Jewish population. Synagogues were booming. Jewish organizations like Hadassah, Ford, B'nai B'rith, and the like were in their heyday. We couldn't plant enough trees in Israel for Karen Kayemet. We couldn't raise enough money for Israel, and we certainly couldn't eat enough of the buksar, which we got every year from Israel for Tu B'Shvat. Anybody remembers that card thing that we all didn't know you were supposed to open and we shoot on it? Okay, maybe. Must have been a Philadelphia thing. Jews had an unquenchable love of Israel. It was our hope and our dream for the Jewish people. In the 50s, Leon Uris wrote a book which for many people was only second to the Bible. It was called Exodus. And it actually transformed my life the first time I read it, which was in 6th grade. It was a big book to tackle, but it moved me tremendously. The characters were real and vibrant to me, and I admired almost every single one of them. History came alive. Unfortunately, my enthusiasm for Judaism did not extend to Hebrew school. There's more on that later. Which at 3 times a week in a conservative synagogue felt a little bit suffocating. Israel and religion did not quite equate for me. I wanted to be a chalutz, a pioneer. I wanted to stand next to Ari Ben Kenan and build a homeland for the Jewish people. So jump ahead a bit. I was a bit of a rebellious teenager. My parents had their hands full. It was the 60s, change was in the air. Vietnam, protests, music, societal changes all made it hard to figure out who you were and what life was all about. I was angry and impatient and antsy for adventure. It turned out that my mother had a sense that maybe I needed a little extra something, and she spoke with the rabbis, expressing her concern about my rebelliousness. He asked, was she ever interested in Israel? And my mother said, well, yes. Next thing I knew, she had planned a trip for us with Hadassah tour, 2 weeks in Israel. It absolutely changed my life. It was, I just fell madly in love the moment we landed there. I was like a sponge. I loved the scenery, I loved the people, I loved the smells, I loved everything about it. I listened to every word that the tour guide had to say. I felt like I was an encyclopedia just taking it all in. And I knew I had to go back. I found the means to return to Israel with a group called Sharut La'am, which was an Israeli-based organization and it meant service of the people. I went to Israel looking for meaning, looking for adventure, looking for heroes, and looking for love, which happened to come my way, and I found them all. So one day I found myself on that plane, that El Al plane, and I felt myself soar. The first stop of that year journey was the Ulpan in Kiryat Shmona, which is in the Hula Valley, the northern part of Israel, between Lebanon and Syria. It was a development town that was built in the 1950s to accommodate all the Moroccan immigrants that had been airlifted out. The absorption center, which is the full pond, was where new immigrants were located until they were found housing and found jobs and whatever. But it was also the place where the volunteers from Shalom went to study Hebrew 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. There were people from everywhere here, and their stories were incredible. I had people in my class from Russia and Mexico and France and South Africa, India, Chile, Argentina, and I was awestruck by, number one, how stupid and uneducated I felt. These people had stories to tell about escaping, for political reasons, for religious reasons, for whatever reasons. And I was this idealistic person who had come from the very privileged suburbs. Our stories were very different, but I learned more in that 3 months than I did in any class I ever went to. I was eventually placed in Spa, which is the mountaintop town in Israel. It's one of the 4 holiest cities. It's the center, the home of mysticism and Kabbalah. It has an incredible mood to it, being up on the mountain. There's a large Hasidic population. There was an immigrant population there, but there was also a hospital, and that's where I was going to be working. And it was not the modern hospital that exists there now. At the time, my 2 roommates and I, also Shalom volunteers, were set up in a little apartment, and we lived near the Arab nursing students who were attending the hospital. And it was a very diverse population. We were only given about the equivalent of $11 a month to sort of get by. They thought that we were going to eat in the hospital and whatever. But that $11 got us free power to travel and different things while we were there too. But the hospital itself was very interesting. It was all set up as little buildings, and I was in the laboratory. I worked first in bacteriology, and then there was chemistry and there was hematology. Each one was in a different little area. And across the street was the operating room. And where the patients slept was a whole different place. So you might see the gurneys going up and down. I should say stretchers, not gurneys going up and down the street. If you had an emergency, some blood work that had to be done over the other side of town, which is where maternity and pediatrics was, you called the driver. And the driver came, but along the way, maybe he saw a sister-in-law who had her groceries with her, and she had to be dropped off. And so by the time you got there and did what you had to do and, kind of looked around for him again, he was talking to somebody down the street. It was a very different way of hospital life. It is not like that any longer. As you know, it's technologically one of the highest levels of medical care that you can get anywhere. But in those days, it was a little bit more simple and primitive. I worked with a fellow by the name of Mikhail Schechter, who was a Romanian survivor from the Holocaust. He was very arrogant, very snippety. I think that he liked me, but I'll never know for sure because he would never smile. He would never show any kind of warmth. But I think he liked me. The other person who was in the lab with me was an Iraqi woman who had also been airlifted out, and she was a very, very simple woman. Her job was to flip the agar out of the Petri dishes and then wash the Petri dishes by hand. Now, if you know anything about that type of thing, that's not like in Petri dishes. And it was like ghastly to think how she was handling these different organisms. I guess she lived a long, full life, though. She became immune. Anyway, my year there was up, but I wasn't ready to come home. And I started to try to figure out where did I want to go. I loved northern Israel the most. I loved the desert, the cities were fun, but I really had a love for the northern part of Israel. And I loved being in the Hula Valley. I loved looking up at Mount Hermon. I loved the flowers that came out in the spring. Everything about it was just beautiful, including looking up every night at the millions of stars, because the just nothing. It took away from that. So I ended up going to Kibbutz Gonen, which was originally a border kibbutz. After the 67 war, the Golan Heights was between Gonen and Syria. But it was in a pretty, not remote area. It was a largely unpopulated area. It was mostly kibbutzim, some moshavim, and then the city of Kiryat Shmona was across the valley. I started my work there with the other 220 people. That was about all that was living there. They were families. They were knockoff soldiers because this was still considered a border community. So knockoff soldiers were people who were involved in agriculture and able to defend if need be. There was also a group called Chefat Nor, which were kids that had come from underprivileged homes and were given another chance on the kibbutz. They were adopted by another family, and they still had their families, but they had a kibbutz family too, and they were given more of an opportunity than they would have had they stayed, behind in cities. I started out working in the apple orchards, 4 o'clock in the morning. I really didn't like it. I needed to step up from that. So I moved up to dining room, which meant washing the floors, washing the windows after every meal, and it was a large dining room. And this is still in the days when everybody at the kibbutz came and ate together. That has since changed. But one of the demeaning parts about it, but it was endearing at the same time, was going around and giving mostly the guys their pitchers of water. They would kind of just sit there with the pitcher up in the air, meaning I'm still thirsty, bring me some water. And then the additional bonus was cleaning out the kolboinik. Kolboinik was the thing that sat in the center of the table, and that's what everybody scraped their garbage into. And so, I obviously started at a basic level there, but it was okay. I eventually started working in the children's house, and I had a group of 5 children, and they came as infants. I worked with a woman, Elisa Luzia, I mentioned her name before the Mishabera. She became really my kibbutz mother, and she taught me really everything I knew about how to raise children. I loved those 5 babies. I would have done anything for them. They were just wonderful. They were my kids. And Elisa, in the meantime, she and her husband, Ellie, really took me in as part of their family. They had 4 children. I was included for their Shabbat dinners. She was my confidant. Ellie was like a mother hen more than he was, a paternal figure. But they were wonderful to me. And we remained very close with them. We had them at our home for 3 weeks. They've been here. They were here last time they came for Simchat Torah. It was their first time that they had ever really been to a Simchat Torah service. They were awestruck that the Torah was opened up and they could touch it. This is just nothing that they had done there. And their very handsome son also came along, and many of the young girls at this congregation were like, "Who got that?" I mean, it's like, he's gorgeous. Yep, he is. So we are still in contact with them, and we did see them on 2 different occasions. We went back to the kibbutz, not to go now, but back to the kibbutz where they're living now. My life is immersed in the normal living in a kibbutz. I made Aliyah. I was pretty certain that I was going to stay there and live there, and I just happy doing that. Not everything goes exactly as you think it will, and one of the last parts that I mentioned in the things that I was going to Israel for was adventure, heroes, and all that, but there was also love. And it so happened that I met my first husband in Israel, and I picked him up hitchhiking in the Negev desert. Try to explain that to your mother, But shortly after we met, the war broke out in 1973, and that was a pretty volatile time there. And I did speak about that in 2013 at great length because it was a Shabbat, and it was Yom Kippur, it was the 40th anniversary. And it was a very interesting experience. The kibbutz emptied out, except for 11 men, and the volunteers and the women basically took over everything that needed to be done there. And there were many volunteers that came back from all over the world. But until things were like normal again, which took a while and then started to come back home, I really felt that I couldn't leave, I didn't want to leave, but I also was ready for a little time back home, back in the States. And I just needed to, like, you know, figure out what was next. And obviously, I returned. And Bruce and I got married about a year after that. And I had a difficult time. I feel bad to kind of, you know, cutting that Israel experience off so quickly, but I went back and I said to myself, everything I own is here. I have a dog here. My life is here. And yet there was something pulling, as it does, and you know that whether it's time for you to come home or it's time for the next phase of your life, with a marriage, having children, and that was the place that I was. So adjustment coming home was not easy. I really felt like a fish out of water. And I realized that, you know, that I didn't need my Hebrew anymore. I had to start speaking English again. I was dreaming in Hebrew. You know, that had to change. I was meeting new people. There was no aftermaths of war going on. And one of the strangest things was that not everybody around me was Jewish. In fact, mostly they weren't. We had rented a little house in Serbrook for the first year. And I had a job at the Middlesex Hospital at that point. And I was, you know, I was lucky. I got the job pretty quickly. And Martin Nadell was one of the pathologists at the time, and I still love the fact that I see him all the time. I happened to be talking to a patient one day, and so her name was Esther Breslow. And we got chatting, she made this, you know, we made the Jewish connection. And she said, well, where do you live? And I said, well, we're renting a house in Centerbrook. And I said, well, we're looking for a house. And I said, where do the Jews live? She goes, Moodus. You have to come to Moodus. That's where the Jews are. And I went, okay. So we ended up looking in Moodus, and we bought a house in Moodus, and found that that was where the Jews were. They had a very strong history in town. In fact, Neil's grandparents, my grandfather grew up in Moodus. His great-grandparents are buried in the cemetery there. Anyway, for me this was good. I came back from the kibbutz needing kind of a small town and all that, and we were able to raise animals and have wonderful friends, Barbara and Arnie, being two who lives out. And there was the Pear family. They were across the street from me, and they were next door to me. And there was Dr. Berwick, who was the co-host at Yonah. And there was a wonderful small community, the Simons also. And, you know, I started having Passover service, starting small. I think the first year was 13, the next year was 24. It grew to be 35, and I think by the time I stopped making in the Moodus, we had maybe 40-something people, which was a lot of fun. It was a very idyllic time. It ended. You know, my first husband, Bruce, passed away right before Coleman was ready in 1982. So I didn't realize it until I wrote notes for the speech that at my worst and loneliest time, I wasn't angry at God. In fact, I had never had a relationship with God. I had lived a Jewish life in Israel, with holidays and Shabbat, and my Jewish friends, and speaking Hebrew. But how I just did not have the spiritual part kick in. And I knew that I had a responsibility to my kids, too, who were little. And I started to say, we're a Jewish family. I need to show my children what being a Jewish family is about. And so there were a few of us who few young families, and we basically resurrected the Buddhist, Buddhist synagogue Sunday school. And there were, I believe it was like 5 families of us, and our kids, each one of us probably had 2 kids at the time. And we did a pretty good job. We really did. But I think that we all needed a little bit more. The kids didn't need more kids. We needed to have a little bit more professional teaching. I mean, we were doing okay, but they were still young. So most of us ended up joining out of Israel for a period of time. And during that period, I started teaching Hebrew, and I started doing a little bit more reading for myself and whatever. But it was difficult. I knew that I was just needing something a little bit more spiritual, and my heart still ached and whatever. But as time went on, and you have to heal because that's what you do, I realized that once again, I was a very, very lucky woman. Because Neil came into my life. He knew my history, I knew his. I thought it was kind of funny that one of the first times we got together, we went to the Buddhist cemetery and visited his great-grandparents. And we went by his old grandfather's house. And it was meaningful to both of us. We felt like there were just a lot of things that didn't have to be talked about. So Passover was still a very big deal in my life. I continued doing that, and I knew that Neil, I think it was sort of the first time he semi-proposed to me, and he said, because he was having Passover with his family, and I was having Buddhist, and he said, we will never not do Passover together. And I went, So, we got married, as you know. I had my bat mitzvah the same year because it was time to finally stop being the, refused to Hebrew school student that I was when I was young. And I very much wanted my bat mitzvah. And it meant something especially wonderful having my kids stand in front of me and hear my Torah. And I shared that experience with Evelyn, Barbara. So, I'm almost done. So we moved to Glastonbury, and we lived there for 13 years. We were very involved in the synagogue there. And I taught, and I was on board, and I did lots of committees and everything else. But eventually, when our kids left home, we decided to move to Westbrook, where both of us had really strong family ties. And it's historically a center for our 2 families. And that is when we began our journey here with this temple. And we attended a Friday night service in Deep River, only to see many faces from Lotus. We saw the pairs, we saw many other people. And it was then that I realized that Shalom had merged with Rabbi Tzedek. And Neil and I knew that we had come home ourselves to the place. So, was it all an unexpected journey? Philadelphia to Israel, where a piece of my heart will always remain, to Lourdes, where another piece of my heart remains, to the hearts of 2 wonderful men, to wonderful families, long friendships. I guess that was the journey. So again, Neil and I both wish you Shana Tova, a peaceful, sweet, and healthy year. You can relax now and don't talk.
Mamash Toda. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you. So thank you officially to Marilyn White Godfrey for speaking and sharing your story with us tonight. Thank you to Philip and Susan Fine for sponsoring tonight's Dawn Egg, which will be our final Dawn Egg in 5778. I mean, that's exciting. you know, we need a sign or something. As you know, and as we talked about, Erev Rosh Hashanah is Sunday night. Services begin at 7:30. Then at 9:30 a.m. on Monday, Rosh Hashanah morning service, which will then go right into Tashli. If God willing, it won't rain. And then we have a children's service at 2:30. And it'll be terrific. Bring your kids, bring your grandkids. It's a lot of fun, very sweet. We have one of our, fifth graders blowing shofar for us. And so it's a nice chance to be together, have some apples and honey. Then on the 16th, a reminder that we have our 2 cemetery memorial services. At 1 p.m. we're at the Fountain Hill Cemetery in Deep River, and then at 2:30 p.m. at Road Tzedek in Budis. And then Kol Nidre is the 18th, and Yom Kippur is the 19th. Speaking of Fountain Hill Cemetery expansion begins in October with 200 plots soon available, and reservations are now being accepted. If you're interested, please contact Wendy in the office. We actually have a map of all of the work that's being done there. It's right out in Main Street, so you can take a look. Also, another exciting change that's coming is the meditation garden is being renovated, and it's going to be rededicated. The Sid and Bernie Slater Meditation Garden. And that big event of the rededication is happening Sunday, September 30th at 10 a.m. If you want to be there and be part of it, please do RSVP just so we know how many people to expect. You can let Wendy know in the main office. Any other announcements, concerns, questions? We will, of course, be collecting food. Our food drive will be going on, and then we'll be filling a truck, and you'll be encouraged to take home a tote bag on Rosh Hashanah, fill it up, bring it back on Yom Kippur, and do a mitzvah. Take the food that you would have eaten on Yom Kippur and donate it to somebody who doesn't have a choice and often is hungry without choosing to be. So, great. Let's turn then in our Sidurim to page, and we got 35. Thank you. Please rise. And yet we also feel their spirit. The memories remain, stories, the lessons, and the legacies will never fade. And so we keep their memory close, deep in our hearts, this Shabbat and through the entire year. Tonight we are observing the Shiva and Shloshim of Deborah Leff, mother of Dr. Peter Leff, and Debbie Bellows, my cousin. We mark a yortzeit, the anniversaries of death, for Joseph Belcourt, David L. Vixen, Marcia Cohen, Erwin Davidson, Milton Davis, Esther Farber, Harry Fishbach, Murray Goldstein, Joan Leibovitz, Carol Ledworth, Rita Nierenstein, Dorothy Rishal, Ida Sachs, Sally Scherer, Sophia Starr, and Martin Zwirling, Zichronam Livracha. Who else is marking a Shiva or Shloshim or Yortzeit of a loved one would like to share a name out loud?
Donna Moran.
May all of their memories always be a precious blessing to those who knew and loved them. Together now we join in the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitzchakal v'yitzchakash shemei rabbah, v'alma yivarach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayichon v'yomechon v'chayit kol beit Yisrael, v'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah v'barach le'olam olnei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishabach v'yitbar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Yitzadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shmei t'udishah b'richu, le'elam mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiram yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shema barach v'yishmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'rama, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen.
We will conclude with a song about peace, Odibo Shalom Aleinu, on page 39. Odibo Shalom Aleinu, Odibo Shalom Aleinu, Odibo Shalom Aleinu, Be'afulah. Odibo Shalom Aleinu, Odibo Shalom Aleinu, Odibo Shalom Aleinu, Be'afulah.
It's in our It's a good thing. When we left the board meeting, she went home and talked to her for an hour. And then she called Ethan to remind him to call his brother.
And the other guy on the stand for an hour. And it was me with the two little guys. Dennis check. finished different times. We down, they've never gone out the other end. Well, we started at good speed and went down. And we went all around the place. Around the
Okay, above, right above Chapel. No, below. In Chapel.
We never do that. We always go in and go down. We go all the way around. Yeah, get around the edge. And then they said, you think this is go out? I said, I know we should. And then we went out and came back and said, GPS went 4.9 miles in 3 hours and 5 minutes. And it was great. Wonderful. Yeah. But they might have another one that English. I think it's like 28.
Came home from a board meeting.
Well, I hope they, let people know ahead of time so they can go.
And where's that going to be?
They should call Ethan to remind him.
Oh, down
Is
there.
that off all line? Yes. I think it's gonna be there.
No, I really, I don't remember where I was but it was wonderful. I did you see a lot of birds?
Yes. And they hear them and they see them.
Howdy.
No, I never see them.
Okay. Home test with Eric and Udo.
I went to the clinic, it's just like you get a bruise or something. I said, just go. I didn't know it was there till my son told me. I don't feel it. I don't see it.
So I actually drove
And the
to
doctor said,
the
don't do
synagogue
anything, just wait.
to do something else. And they were carrying out
So that's good news.
the garden, our meditation garden. And I said, what do you guys do?
How you feeling?
The job is today, yes, it's actually tomorrow. Sorry, and she was killed on her son's birthday. She got to say hello to both of them before it.
That was so nice. Lots of
You knew all of it
Well, I
at some
knew a
point
lot,
or
yes,
another.
but just, I didn't hear it all
In a line like
in
that.
a line like that, yeah.
That was great now. Let me give you a
Thanks.
I found it really, really interesting.
Good. I didn't see anyone fall asleep, so.
No, yeah, my interest the whole time. It was very good.
All right, how about some wine? I need a tall glass. Did you get the message that we weren't able to? I didn't get any message, but I think you were correct. Did you call?
I don't know, but there's no any picture.
This outfit I certify your hair. What'd you say? Certify your hair. I'm doing 7, 8, and 9. Here it is. Here it is. I'm doing 7, 8, and 9.
My name is Greenleaf. 70-mile-per-hour winds and thunderstorms. Excellent. But I was inside. And then the next morning, 8 in front, finished passing 10:30 from the high. Got lucky, it was kind of in and out. There was some glorious walk across 60 degrees, hardly a cloud, light breeze, and of course, records is going down. But, you know, the mountain is now twice as high as it was 35 years ago. I know.
I think I'm gonna go get my magnifying and let me go. Let me go south, yeah. And it's weird because the way some of the letters are more spread out in the copy that I have versus in that Torah, that it's kind of,
Yes, I do.
it's definitely,
Since it's out and
it's definitely,
not a,
well,
one that I don't know if I can.
no, I don't think I've ever read out of this one. Do you want me to find where you are, or can you? You have to be somewhere down here, because I finished. I didn't see anything. Do you remember where you finished? Yeah, I can find it. Because it was weird. Yeah, it should be. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. concerned because of the food about where, so we kind of like that.
And if you want more, you just tell me. Okay.
Because you were like, oh, here, shofar, there, just a little, a little major. Love, that's so sweet, really nice.
I bring it to me.
In our house, and we have those glorious colors. So, try and gather my children, get their coats. Nails. Okay. Oh yeah, he was making work of that. And for a line, so that was in the store.
You're fine.
Nails.
No, I do because that way Alex is late and he's not kicking anybody. And if they want to get up and leave, they're not disturbing anybody. That's the reason I sit where we sit. Has nothing to do with, Zach, please don't tip the chair back. If you fall, it's going to go boom. Is your brother in there?